Hey there, and welcome to yet another, well, I say yet another, it's only the second one, brand new episode of Never As Funny, this time with Lottie Goldthorpe. Like lots of my other guests, done various things, like boatloads of various things, but I'd say she's mostly accredited for Conversations from the Coffee Shop, something which I briefly spoke about with Arthur Drury last year, who is no longer with... I was going to say with us, which sort of implies that he's dead. No longer with them. He's no longer writing for them. Actually, to be fair, he might be ghost writing for them. I don't know. I'll have to ask him. He's a crafty little bastard, that guy. But yeah, Lottie's great. Back when I was in Keith, we used to do hotboxes, which were like regular, very laid-back sketch performances at a local pub where we'd read sketches, generally new sketches we'd just written, and like try them out and get a little bit drunk. And we'd also like perform sketches submitted by people. And one of those people was Lottie, who would also join us in, as anyone was welcome to, in performing some of them. She also performed in a couple of the shows we put on and is continuing to progress on to other things, which obviously we talk about in this episode. Stuff like, as mentioned, Conversation in the Coffee Shop, other audio drama things. We talk about the process of auditioning, the kinds of things that got her into comedy, the way comedy's evolved over time, yada, yada, yada. It will be a lot more interesting when you actually hear us talk about it. Which is to say, I'm a quit yapping, because this ain't Yap City. It's the podcast, Never As Funny. And to announce that fact, here's the title music. Bye-bye. Welcome back to the show, where I talk to comedians in the know. That's right. It's Never As Funny. It's Never As Funny. The show's, it's called Never As Funny. It's the name of the show, by the way. Never As Funny. It's the gist of it, the name. This show's called Never. This is like the title music. This is the. It's called Never As Funny. All right. Hello, welcome back to the show. You've just heard the title music and my little introduction. This is, of course, Lottie Goldthorpe, who once got trapped in a ferry toilet. That's the little. I love getting these little facts. Say hello, and do you want to talk about that story a little bit?
Hello. I was around, I'd say, 12 or 11 years old, and I decided, as you do sometimes, to use the facilities on the ferry. And as you usually do with toilets, you lock the door, don't you? That's a relatable thing.
Speaking to the people.
Yeah. You know, I'm a person of the people, Patrick. Yeah, locked the door, done everything. I tried to unlock the door. I couldn't. I started panicking, yelling to my mum and dad, saying, I can't unlock it. Mum, I can't unlock the toilet. Mum. And I'm not proud. It took what could be considered not a lot of time for me to think about next steps, i.e. rationing toilet paper. I don't mean rationing toilet paper in that way. I mean rationing toilet paper in, okay, so I've got water down, so I can survive a few days without food. But what will I sustain myself with?
That's an incredibly practical mindset for such a young age.
You might want to sort of retract that statement when I tell you that the lock wasn't broken, I was twisting it the wrong way. And I didn't realise this until I was sort of freed from my fortress by a member of the ferry staff.
Oh no.
They got a toolbox out and everything. So, dear listeners, if you ever want to listen to Conversations from the Coffee Shop, I actually wrote a sketch about that.
Oh, fantastic. Is it in an episode that's out yet?
Yeah, it's in an episode. I think it's in episode 2 or 3 of series 2.
Brilliant.
Which is why I'm here. Really, I'm here because I'm trapped in your basement, but, you know.
Yeah, I do have to do that with all my guests. I'm working my way through them. But it will explain why, you know, if I ever have a guest like Rob Brydon or someone famous, that will be how I've managed to do it, by capturing. Yeah,
Ed Gamble says that they've asked if you could increase food rations, by the way.
I thought about it. I have been putting in a lot of toilet paper, so... Okay, so yeah, speaking of what you're doing, I was going to say speaking of why you're here, which is very existential.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what kind of stuff you're doing at the minute.
Conversations from the Coffee Shop. It's a sketch comedy audio drama. Also doing other audio drama stuff with a writer and performer, Ollie Buck. Very talented.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, Ollie Buck does Conversations from the Coffee Shop, but also does this thing called Connection Terminated. And I've been lucky enough to audition and get a role in that. So that was great.
Oh, fantastic. Congratulations on that.
Yay. hoping to audition and hopefully get into more stuff in Durham for the comedy scene.
Yeah, that'd be great. You came along to a few of the hot boxes as well and submitted some sketches for that, I think, which is great fun. You submitted a sketch for, I don't remember which show it was we did, but with Keith, the sketch comedy troupe I was in last year. We did a show and I really liked your, what was it called? It was the sketch with the shopkeeper and the customer.
Oh yeah, Haggle My Car.
That was it,
yeah. Essentially escalating to a situation where a customer and shopkeeper sort of... It's the relatable stuff that I write, you know?
Exactly. Getting to the people again.
Getting to the people.
It was one of the hardest things I've had to rehearse. Just getting the timing right.
I'd take that as a pride, you know?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when we finally got it right, it was brilliant. Both of us just shouting numbers at each other.
Oh, did it end up being in the show?
Yeah, it did.
Oh, did it? Oh, wow.
No, it was great. It was a really good fun one to do. But yeah, circling back to Coffee Shop, tell us about the format of that, because that is one of my favorite things about it. I love the little story arcs that go through it as well.
So the story arc, which we very cleverly interwoven in all these anthology sketches. It's anthology sketches mainly, so you'll just have one about bionic squids, and then you'll get one about... who is considered the best man.
That was one of Arthur Drury's ones, wasn't it?
Yeah, you were on that sketch, I think.
Yes, I remembered that he wrote it, but I didn't remember that I was in it.
But yeah, conversations. It's quite difficult to describe because it just covers everything. So one of our writers and performers, Louis, at the moment, very much focuses on dark comedy. I, following sort of the suit of Keith, do a lot of off-the-wall sketch comedy.
Yeah.
I'd like to think they're good.
They are as well. I'd like to say they are.
Oh, that's very kind.
I'm excited to do the one we've got looking up. I took a brief look at it. I like how it's another customer, a service provider experience.
Yeah, I've got a niche.
It's a good niche. You could start your own show that's just conversations from the retail worker. That would be a good one.
I'll take that market. Yeah, covers everything. Anthology, a little bit serialized. Next sketch will be something completely different each time. Sometimes it'll be a part 2 to something, or even just sort of the same premise but reversed in some cases. But yeah, it's your atypical sketch comedy show.
What is your position? Are you just a writer for it? Like, how much control do you have?
Jokingly, of course, we've set ourselves our own categories, so we call Ollie head writer Oliver Buck, and Louis deputy writer Louis Leventhal, and then me, sub-writer Lottie Goldthorpe. But no, we're all on an equal playing field.
Yeah.
We come along on the day, everyone else will have something. I'll have forgotten to write something that day, and I'll have to write something within the 5 minutes I've got between recording something and then saying, so what have you brought today, Lottie? Something about seances and spaghetti.
I'm no stranger to that. Is that a real one you've written?
Yeah, recently, yeah. Hopefully, if I get that edited over the holidays, it can be on for Series 2, Part 2 or something.
Oh, fantastic. Without spoilers, of course. Is the running plot thread in the second one, is it a continuation of the first series?
A little bit, yeah. It's a little bit of a continuation, but we're also doing a little bit of our own thing as well. We've got a new plot and some plots that are sort of, I'd say, wrapping up in a loose bow, because there's always room for something else to snap threads and break reality and dimensions. You know, your average...
Yeah, your basic stuff.
Yeah, your basic plot distortion stuff, innit?
Yeah. How often do you stick to the theme of it being in a coffee shop? Because I know Arthur used to get a lot of flack for basically his being never.
I've become a bit of the Arthur of the group.
Oh, Maverick.
Yeah. I started off trying to link it to coffee shops and things like that at the start. But then, most recently, my sketches have been sort of nothing even to do with coffee. Louis and Ollie will try to sort out plots, and then here I am talking about bone fairies and surgery and stuff.
Fairies?
Oh, yeah.
I'm intrigued by bone fairies.
Yeah, the most recent episode of Conversations from the Coffee Shop that's come out, titled I Am the Bone Fairy, Give Me Your Bones, which I'm honoured to have named after one of my sketches.
That's brilliant. Can we have some kind of teaser of...
Yeah, okay. You've heard of... I can't do the voice. You've heard of...
Oh, wow.
Tooth fairies. I don't know where I'm going with it.
You've heard of tooth fairies. Make way for bone fairies.
That was an incredibly...
Crunching the numbers and your bones.
That was an incredibly impressive vocal drop. I liked as well... You sort of gave the impression that you're like, oh, I don't know if I could do this, and then you did one cough and immediately dropped your voice by like 20 octaves.
Yeah, I mean, Conversations has been an education in both where you think you can go with a joke, commitment to the bit,
yes,
and how sore you can make your voice.
Oh god, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I've had that experience. Do you prefer acting to writing? Do you have a preference between them?
I prefer acting, I prefer performing, but I absolutely do adore writing the sketches as well.
Yes.
I like watching people perform my sketches, where I try as much as I can not casting myself within it.
It's always tricky, but it's also always fun to watch people bring something to life that you've come up with.
You look like a Roman emperor watching them on the gladiators.
Putting the thumb down if they get it wrong.
But I wanted to play the Vader parody. And that, dear listeners, was a excerpt from a recording session.
Was it actually?
Yeah, I wrote a parody about Star Wars and I wrote Darth Vader. And all three are like massive Star Wars nerds. So if you give the role of Darth Vader, if you put that on a table...
Oh, I see, of course.
You see hungry eyes looking at it just like, well, I could be Luke Skywalker or I could be Darth Vader. And everyone likes to play a villain, so...
It's a brilliant power move to drop that out there and make the others fight for the scraps.
It's fun, you know? It gives me a sense of power. It's an honour for me for people to be so invested in performing the sketches that they jokingly fight about who should play who. Yeah,
absolutely. What's your writing process like then?
Generally, it's go to the studio, forget that I had to bring a sketch, panic, get Google Docs up, write a sketch, or, as in one case, listen to isolated David Bowie vocals and then cry a bit and then write a sketch.
That's beautiful. That seems like the kind of technique you'd see some famous writer put in an autobiography.
I mean, I was crying a bit because I was thinking, his voice is so beautiful. But yeah, that's basically my process.
It's a good process. Have you ever done any Bowie-inspired sketches?
Not yet, I should.
Definitely.
Maybe it would be a David Bowie interview.
Oh, I like the idea of that. He's definitely a big character.
I think this would be a rare occasion where I'd want to cast myself as Bowie.
Of course you would. You can't give that to someone else.
No. It's my sketch, I'll do what I like. That's my David Bowie impression.
David Bowie. I'm Bowie.
I'm David Bowie. There's a star, man.
There's shoes, silly.
That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, that interview. Could do even a parody of that if I was to write a sketch. Shoes, and then the interviewer
definitely
picking apart David Bowie's entire outfit.
That would be very, because it's already a bizarre interview. It's in the interview, ask him if they're bisexual shoes or something.
Yeah, bisexual shoes. And is that an asexual jacket?
Yeah, I was trying to think of other. Oh, there we go. Pansexual trousers. It's less funny by the third time, by my interpretation.
You can do it 3 times, and that's the rule.
That's the rule, isn't it? Yeah. What about voice acting? Do you tend to rehearse things much beforehand? Do you just throw yourself in?
Recently, we've been throwing ourselves in a bit more, but usually we do a read-through beforehand, and that's led to a lot of funny moments, which unfortunately we didn't record.
Yeah, that does tend to be the way.
Yeah, the recent person we had on who voiced Luke Skywalker in that sketch decided to do their impression of a northern accent for Luke Skywalker. Going, I will not fight you.
That's very good. I think Star Wars would have been a lot better if it was set in, like...
Sheffield.
York. Pick either, really. No son of mine will be a Jedi.
You're going down pit like my father and their father.
Luke, your father was a cobbler. Oh, that was bad. That was like Northern Irish.
Your father was a cobbler. Your mother was a cobbler. Your aunt was a cobbler.
Yeah, that was very good. What is your natural accent?
I've been told I don't really have an accent. I come from Yorkshire, but
right.
I've got a mum who's from down south, and then a dad who grew up where I grew up. So I've had a bit of a blend of both.
Wow, a real melting pot.
Oh yeah, my voice multitasks a lot. So although I wouldn't say that my northern accent is very good, you know, I know sort of a few of the isms, the little tricks.
A couple of neat things to draw upon.
I can pass as almost northern.
Is it a go-to voice for sketches, would you say?
My go-to voice for sketches is often one that's really silly.
Yeah, that's a good call.
So sometimes I do like an old lady voice.
That's good.
I tend not to do accents because I don't think that I'm that good. I do practice a lot, but I don't want to risk offending people too much.
Yeah, absolutely. It can always be a bit risky.
It's always a risky maneuver, especially if you're not doing it live, where someone can sort of see your face and then the surprise at what sort of voice decides to pop out and say hello that day.
Yeah, it's always a risk of sliding between them. I've attempted Welsh a couple of times, not live. But the trouble with that is because it's quite sing-song, it's very easy to start sounding like you're attempting, like, I don't know, like a Pakistani accent or something, which is a lot riskier.
My Welsh accent usually comes from, I say usually, it comes from Gavin and Stacey. So I talk about maybe
of course.
Gavin and Stacey.
Gavin and Stacey. Do it now when a man now.
Or Ness going, I knows it, I feels it. Oh, Ness, you look beautiful. I know.
That was very good. I still haven't seen Gavin and Stacey.
I can recommend it. It's quite funny. I did watch it a lot during lockdown.
Most TV shows I've seen in my life, I think I've seen during lockdown.
A lot of people say their accents come from like, I watched loads of interviews with this actor.
Yes.
When we were at Ramda, we went to voice acting lessons and we sort of had to get into the character. What was David Bowie thinking in that interview?
Yes, exactly.
And usually mine just come from watching Derry Girls too much.
Yes, I've had that exact one. A friend of mine, he didn't have a Welsh accent himself, but he's quite Welsh. And one of my certified ways to piss him off is by attempting a really poor Welsh accent.
Yeah, Ollie, they tried to do a Yorkshire accent sometimes in front of one of our mates. I have tried to instruct them best I can. And I'm not the expert, as many people will tell you.
Yeah.
I told my dad about me trying to teach Ollie how to do a Northern Yorkshire accent. And as quick as anything, my dad turned to me and said, but you've not got a Yorkshire accent. And I love my dad. It hurt my pride.
Of course it did. He just doesn't understand the grind set.
Absolutely. A lot of my northernisms come from my dad's side of the family, which is all Yorkshire.
Yes.
It's all farmer.
Do you have tips on hand?
For Yorkshire accent?
Yeah. Tell you what, I'll do a little... And now it's time for Lottie's Northern Tips. Let's journey up north and go to Chippy.
Up north. Try to make it sound more musical.
Okay.
So remove all H's from your vocabulary. You are is now thar. If you're talking about someone you know, you're talking about our. So our Patrick.
Our kid.
Yeah, our kid, our Patrick.
That's very sweet. I like that. I like being part of the community. It's good.
Yeah, whether you want to be or not, you're part of the community. Northern people are generally very friendly, so if you're trying to do the accent, have that sort of bridge across.
Yes.
Within that. They're cheerful, they're happy to see you.
That's the trope, isn't it? That you smile at people on the street.
You do. They do. And you know what? It's not a bad trope to have.
No, it absolutely isn't. Although I had, because I live in rural Wales, so it's very similar. I mean, I live in especially rural areas, basically a hamlet. And so whenever I go up to London, I kind of have to relearn. Because
there's a social etiquette.
The minute you start smiling at people on the street,
they think you've done something.
Yeah, they either think you've done something or you become a target immediately.
They think, what are you looking at?
Yeah.
And then you've got to stare back even further because you're thinking, well, what are you looking at?
Absolutely, yeah.
When cornered, headbutt, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good technique. Is that another northern tip?
It's not a tip. Lottie Goldthorpe does not endorse headbutting.
Because it's a podcast, I can really destroy you here. I can just cut out the word not there. Making an official Lottie Goldthorpe tip.
I suppose if I say, yes, I endorse this message, then you can sort of cut that in.
Absolutely, yeah. Wherever I like.
You have the power.
I do, very much.
Please make good decisions.
I'll try my best.
On this St. Patrick's Day.
I'll choose to be generous. I'll let a couple snakes go.
That's very kind of you. A lot of imitation and around the house, you know, we end up sort of shouting accents at each other.
Yeah, I do that a lot. I think I do silly voices more than I do my own voice.
It's a thing me and my mum do especially.
Yeah.
Just sort of walk into a room and we do a different accent.
That's a good little routine.
Yeah, so we just walk in and we're sort of just like, so what are we having for dinner then? What you having for dinner? We're going to have some stew for dinner. Oh, lovely.
That's a great reception. If I walked and did an accent to my mom, she'd look at me really confused and scared, say something like, "What are you doing? Why are you doing that?"
It's my mum sometimes who initiates it.
Runs in the family.
No, yeah, definitely. I blame my mum.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, so I wanted to ask a bit about, circling back to Coffee Shop again, what's your guys' schedule for, like, putting together sketches and things?
Sunday to Friday, you'll have loads of weekday stuff.
Yeah.
And then the golden day, Saturday comes around.
Yeah.
And on Saturday is recording day. Yay! And then you realise you didn't write anything. Yay!
That's an experience I'm very much familiar with.
You never have to write anything for conversations is a general rule, because most likely people will have a back catalogue.
Yes.
Responsible writers will have a back catalogue. Not me.
I was about to say, that's probably why I don't have one.
I can definitely put myself into the category of irresponsible writer.
Yeah.
I mean, no, that makes me sound bad. No.
Yeah, it does actually, yeah.
Procrastinator. Yes, that'll work.
That's a good one. Got a little portmanteau. Yeah, I think I prefer personally that way of working as well.
It sort of gives you a bit of push, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Last year I talked to Tansy from Derm Review.
Oh, yeah.
And they have a very strict system of doing a certain number of sketches per week meeting. And yeah, the way I work is very much in like big bursts every now and then. And so I like being able to set my own deadlines, I think.
You can't just encapsulate art. You can't just order the flow of art as if it's a hot water tap. It's as natural as a waterfall. It's a force of nature.
My work is a bird, and birds are not meant to be caged.
One cannot store it as if it is some sort of reservoir.
That was very good. I like the consistency of the water metaphors. But yeah,
you must cry for your art.
I do that a lot, actually. That's something I'm very good at. When you do you sort of submit them and kind of peer review them?
We put them into a Google Drive. I guess it's supposedly peer-reviewed on the day, but we never slam down each other's ideas.
Yeah.
Whenever we need to improve on something, or whenever we point out a thing where we're thinking, oh, well, if you use that word instead, it will, yeah, we never really peer-review it. We're sort of very loosey-goosey on it.
Yeah.
It's sort of peer-reviewed on the day. It's I'll do it on the night sort of thing.
Do sketches ever get written that on the day it sort of decided this probably isn't going to fit?
A lot with mine. I have a problem where I sometimes try to extend a punchline.
I've done that.
I do recognise it sometimes, but often I do have to highlight it in red and say, all right, everybody. And I bring people off the streets.
Yes.
I do a world survey. I have to know, is this a good joke? No, usually whoever's in the studio, I'll say, should I extend this by having this person say this, or does it work where it lands here? And often enough, I've extended it, and that's been caught out, and the sketches are all the better for it.
Yeah, I frequently find I have to trim mine down. I struggle very much with doing endings for sketches.
Endings are difficult. Which is why we're going to be on this forever.
Well, I like to have a consistent stream. I never stop podcasting, really. I just swap out guests, never leave the microphone.
Let us go.
We'll see how many listeners you get.
Lucrative guest, this one. I shall save them for the Christmas special.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that. I should do a Christmas special. Get on Santa Claus. Seems like a funny guy.
Rob Brydon shall never be allowed out of your sight now.
No, you shouldn't, especially that Welsh accent that I need to pick up. But I gotta keep him around.
No, yeah. Good for advertising.
Yeah, absolutely. So, how long have you been doing Coffee Shop now?
Literally started it last year. So I auditioned for it by sending some of my sketches in over the summer. And Ollie reviewed them. And I don't know whether they were feeling ill that day or particularly generous. But I got in.
Fantastic.
Yeah, as well as Louis. And since October, I've been doing it. And I never want to leave because it's so fun to do.
Absolutely. That's how I felt with every group like that I've gotten into. Very cliche question to ask, really, but when did you start getting into comedy and writing and performing, all that stuff?
Writing, I suppose, in 2022 when I joined uni.
Yeah.
But in terms of performing, one could say I've always been a performer. I've always loved doing drama, never really had the opportunities to take it further in GCSE or A-level. School plays, well, not school plays, that makes me sound like I was a proper theatrer. So primary school, summer production, absolutely loved doing that. Whenever there was a sort of nativity or whatever, I always put my academics first.
Yeah.
But just sort of playing around all the time, being generally a nuisance, being generally silly. And then that sort of dream of saying, I want to be an actor. When I grow up, I want to be an actor.
Yes.
And letting that blossom at uni.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things that I miss a lot. That's the great thing about uni, is it makes it very easy to just hop into lots of these things because it's all priorly set up.
It's especially good if, like me, you never really had that open door to just try it out.
Yes, of course.
With no pressure, because there'll be so many other people who are also just trying it out.
What would you recommend to people who are maybe just starting university or about our age, interested in getting into this type of thing?
You'll be absolutely terrified.
Yes, very true.
So there's the first piece of advice. Find that small part of you which is desperately clinging onto, but I really want to do it.
Yes.
And try to trick yourself into thinking that's confidence. And take that. Try to push any anxieties out of the way if you can, or at least a couple. And go to at least one thing and say, well, I'll try it out. And then once you've done that one thing, you can say, well, I did that. I might not have gotten in, but I did that. So I can do that again.
Yes, 100%.
And then keep saying, I can do that again. I'm currently on that I'll keep doing that again thing where I want to do more on stage stuff.
Oh, brilliant.
Because I've been confined to a studio.
Yes.
Ollie won't let me leave.
Locked away
Behind a microphone. Whereas I really want to be able to sort of dance around and make myself look like a prat.
Yes.
So just taking on that, well, I can do that because I've just done this. And, well, I can do that. That wasn't so bad. And then building up your confidence with it.
That little drive, that little, I want to do this, that's a huge key part. Especially that thing of, like you said, trying it out. Once you give it a go once, that's especially when you'll know if you have that. Because even if you found it anxiety-inducing, which you probably will, because auditioning can be a terrifying process.
Especially if you're first-timer.
Yes, yeah, definitely. But it will unlock that, oh, yeah, this is what I want to do.
Big tip, scream into a pillow,
Yeah, that's a good one. Especially at the audition. You can show real boldness.
Bring a pillow along, scream into it, and say, this is my art.
Really helps you stand out. When you say you'd like to do more stage performance, do you mean specifically comedy or?
Oh, anything. Anything.
Yes.
Give me anything, please.
Yeah, I was very much the same.
Please cast me in something.
It really does feel like that, constantly going to auditions. What kind of experiences have you had with them?
Recently auditioned for Ook Theatre Company's sitcom.
Oh, yes.
They did a Doctor Who one. I auditioned. I didn't get in, but... I'm still on the road of, well, I've done that.
Yes, absolutely.
So I can do it again. And obviously I did audition for that Connection Terminated, which was a audio part, but just another one of, well, I've done that, so I can do it again. Yeah,
keeping the ball rolling.
You've got to keep your feet moving, else you'll stop and think about whether this is right or not.
Yeah, which you never want to do. Stopping and thinking is always dangerous.
Especially for me. You'll hear me thinking and then you might hear a kettle whistling.
Yeah, exactly. I think you can see me thinking sometimes. You just see steam seeping out of my ears as the gears grind to a halt. Do you have any, dream parts that you'd like to play?
I always loved doing comedy stuff. That's very close to home. I'm sure a lot of people who do comedy stuff can relate to growing up and being a sort of joker person.
Yes, yeah.
Telling jokes as much as possible and being silly and trying to make people laugh. For people who do comedy, I think laughter is a sort of food.
Oh, God, that's very well put.
Because then it eases the tension in the room. And then you can think, well, they thought that was funny. So if I keep poking that bear...
Yes.
At some point, there'll be a roar. And that's the sort of adrenaline that I chase after.
Absolutely. That kind of response is very, very addicting. Have you got any interest in things aside from stage and radio? Have you thought about, I don't know, screen at all or writing?
Yeah, writing, screen, anything to do with entertainment.
Yeah.
I love being a performing monkey.
Yes.
Look at me! Yeah.
Everyone I've met doing this, that's sort of a core part of it. I think you have to have that to do a lot of this stuff, really.
You've got to be a monkey. You've got to move about. You've got to never stay in one spot for too long.
Yeah. Always looking for new bananas.
Spinny chairs are a nightmare for people like us because we never sit still.
Oh, that's so true. I'd love a spinny chair, but if I had one...
I've got one and I am struggling not to move at the moment.
Oh, I'd be doing the same. A while ago, I was on call with someone, and I'd borrowed a spinny chair from a friend, and physically had to hold myself down to stop rotating around. You mentioned a couple of things, but like, what were the things you were watching and listening to and reading growing up that led you in this direction?
A lot of the stuff I do have to thank my mum and dad for.
Yeah.
A lot of the comedy I find is sort of people's reaction to things. So for the non-comedy part of stuff, be like Ivor the Engine or even Fifi and the Flower Tots, for example, where my mum would come in, look what I was watching and saying, that Fifi, thick as two short planks, isn't she? And that sort of reaction just made me giggle so much. And I watch people a lot, just random people's reactions to things.
Yes.
And that's definitely a bit of an inspiration. But in terms of comedy, stuff I'm watching at the moment, Derry Girls and things like that. But growing up, there was a point where I really wanted to do stand-up.
Yes.
And that was after binge watching loads of stand-up comedians. So maybe like Ellie Taylor or Jack Whitehall, for example, or even Russell Howard.
Oh, yeah, Russell Howard.
But nowadays I do watch a lot of stand-up stuff when I can. Comedians like Flo and Joan, very funny.
Yes, Flo and Joan.
Horrible Histories, definite contender for what I used to watch religiously and still do. It was my first introduction to sketch comedy.
Yes.
Which I think for a lot of kids, especially in Britain, that will have been their first introduction to comedy. The Fast Show as well, watched a bit of that. But in terms of comedy when I was growing up, a lot of the stuff was shown to me by my parents, especially my dad.
Yeah.
What my dad found funny, and then such as The Fast Show or even Dad's Army.
My dad showed me Dad's. I think parent lineage is very often where you start out with a lot of this stuff. Yeah.
Growing up in a house that loves laughing, which I've been very fortunate to grow up in.
Yeah, that does tend to be helpful. Yeah, laughing is, it's such a cliche thing to say. It's something like laughing is medicine or whatever, but...
It might be cliche, but it's completely true.
Comedy has always been something I think I've watched to get through things. It's always helpful.
Comedy is completely underrated in everything, I think, because you can find comedy in from tripping over a pavement to live on stage. That's as far as comedy can span. And it doesn't even categorise it within age group. Throughout your whole life, you'll experience comedy. Whether you like to laugh at it, absolutely say, oh, I prefer horror or I prefer true crime. Throughout your life, you'll at least laugh once. And
yes,
it's that beauty.
Yeah, it is. It very much is built into most things. A lot of what seems to be popular right now are stuff like comedy dramas and things like that.
And even dark comedy is making a big old rise again.
Yes, it is. Now might be a good time, I think, to pause for a little song break.
Awesome.
Would you like to say your song choice for this one?
I get to introduce... So, dear listeners, I would like to introduce my choice of song, Road to Nowhere by the Talking Heads. The first time I was introduced to this song was in a music class in secondary school. We listened to it so many times that I memorised the lyrics.
Oh, wow.
That and Mad World is what I took from those music lessons. We had to do choir.
Yeah.
And they decided to give us a choice in song.
Yeah.
Someone decided to shout up, Mad World. And that is what we sung for the rest of the time I was at that school until it shut down because it ran out of money. But like...
Oh, that would drive me nuts. Drive me mad, you might say.
It might, but I messed up a drum thing. I can't drum.
Ah, it's all good. I'll add in a realistic drum sound effect and you can act like it came out of your mouth.
Hold on a sec. Hold on, wait. I'll do my attempt at a drum thing now.
Oh my god, that was nuts. What the hell?
Yeah, in it.
Jesus.
Voice acting, mate. I mean...
I know. Showing off your credentials. Okay, so I hope you're ready, if you're listening to this, to take a little walk down Road to Nowhere, you might say. And we'll be back in a little bit. Hiya. It's nearly 2 a.m. I got 60 minutes before this gets uploaded. I'm tired as hell. You know the deal. It's the middle section, where I read out the song instead of playing it, because copyright issues. Anyway, this is Road to Nowhere by Talking Heads. Well, we know where we're going, but we don't know where we've been. And we know what we're knowing, but we can't say what we've seen. And we're not little children, and we know what we want, and the future is certain. Give us time to work it out. Yeah, we're on a road to nowhere. Come on inside. I wish the talking heads would come. Taking that ride to nowhere. We'll take that ride. I'm feeling okay this morning. I wish the talking heads would talk my head. We're on a road to paradise. Here we go. Here we go. We're on a ride to nowhere. Come on inside. Taking that ride to nowhere. We'll take that ride. Maybe you wonder where you are. I don't care. Here's where time is on our side. Take you there. Take you there. We're on a road to nowhere. Hey. We're on a road to nowhere. Hey. We're on a road to nowhere. Hey. There's a city in my mind. Come along and take that ride. It's alright, baby, it's alright. And it's very far away, but it's growing day by day. It's alright, baby, it's alright. Patronizing as hell. Goddamn. Would you like to come along? And you can help me sing this song. It's alright, baby, it's alright. They can tell you what to do, but they'll make a fool of you. And it's alright, baby. It's alright. There's a city in my mind. Come along and take that ride. And it's alright, baby. It's alright. Low key, and far be it from me to give Mr. Head of Talking Heads relationship advice, but if I were talking to my girlfriend, my balls would have been cut off halfway through the second, and it's alright, baby. Just want to say. And it's very far away, but it's growing day by day. And it's alright, baby. It's alright. Would you like to come along? You can help me sing this song. It's alright, baby. It's alright. I can tell you what to do, but they'll make a fool of you. And it's alright, baby. It's alright. We're on a road to nowhere. Hey, we're on a road to nowhere. Hey, we're on a road to nowhere. Hey, we're on a road to nowhere. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed listening to that. Yeah, those heads be talking. See you later. That was Road to Nowhere. Hope you enjoyed that. I want us to jump back in by just continuing chronologically, I guess, which is fitting, considering you told me off the record that you're doing archaeology.
Oh, yeah. That was off the record.
Now they know.
Now they know my secret. They can find me.
Yes, exactly.
They'll find me.
But yeah, based on that, when you finish university, is comedy and performance and things something you'll want to continue to pursue?
Absolutely. I mean, it's the ultimate dream for me to be able to make people giggle, which sounds quite, it's very cliche to say like, oh, I just want to make people laugh.
Make the world laugh.
Just want to heal the world, man. To make myself look like an idiot is something which I suppose one aspires to.
Oh, same. That's very much also the goal for me, which is good. I think obviously you have to want to do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that works out very well.
But yeah, definitely. If I ever have the opportunity, absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be great. Do you know what top of your list type of things you'd want to do?
Sketch comedy, I hope, because at the moment, it seems like we had a bit in the 90s where sketch comedy was really high up and everything.
Yeah.
Thought nothing could take it down. And then the 2000s happened. And then I was born. On the first of an April moon or something, I don't know. But yeah.
Also 9/11.
Good point.
The greatest consequence of that was sketch comedy.
Oh, maybe. I hope to sort of do sketch comedy. Any performance type thing, really, is the ultimate dream package thing. It's all inclusive. I'd love it.
Do you have any interest in things like Edinburgh Fringe?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't at the moment be confident enough to do it on my own. But if ever there was some sort of group, I'm putting together a team. Yeah, some sort of Fringe Avengers or something.
Yeah, something like that.
I'd be up for that in a heartbeat.
You should definitely keep an eye out for that. I went to Fringe with Keith, and I'm very glad going for something like stand-up would have been immensely intimidating. Going with a group helps with that a lot, I think.
Safety in numbers.
Yes, exactly. People to hide behind. Yeah,
when they start throwing the fruit at you, that's when you got to start remembering, like, oh yeah, ducking is involved.
Yeah, that's true. That's never happened. There's part of me that's always kind of wanted that.
I mean, if you get a basket out, then that's your weekly shop sorted.
That's true, actually, yeah.
You could start recommending things for people to bring to throw at.
Yeah.
If you could just start throwing pot noodles, maybe.
Gold watches.
Yeah, take gold watches, those gold bars? Yeah, they hit right in the eye, give you a black eye,
And what's a black eye when you're rich, really?
Exactly. You can afford it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, great. So now might be a good time to hop towards your sketch.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Totally up to you if you'd like to give Any background to it?
The title of the sketch is basically a sketch about barber surgeons.
That sums it up.
I was sitting in my room one morning, or night, something like that. It was a time of day, and I thought, well, what can I do a sketch about? And then I couldn't think of anything, and then I came on the day for Conversations from the Coffee Shop, and I wrote this, and people seemed to think it was fun, so I thought I'd send it over here as well.
Yeah, I like the whole thing of, for a lot of history, barbers and surgeons being effectively the same job.
It was quite funny to go to my archaeology lecture and then immediately being told about barber surgeons again after I'd written this.
What time period were you talking about barber surgeons in?
In the Middle Ages.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize it was that far back.
Yeah, it's where we get the red and the white stripes from on barbershops.
Yes, I'd heard that.
Blood for bloodletting and stuff. White for bandages, I believe.
What's blue?
Is there a blue? I think you're thinking of Aquafresh.
Yeah, I very much might be. For toothpaste, I suppose.
Barber dentists, that's another one you could have.
Oh, really?
No. I lie.
To be fair, I would have fully believed it.
That's a different sketch entirely that could be made in the future.
You make a little trilogy? Barber surgeon, barber dentist, barber optician.
I did do another sketch which was basically 2 lines. You've stolen my heart. God, I wish you weren't a heart surgeon.
That's very good.
That is a teaser for an upcoming sketch from Conversations. I'm so sorry to Louis and Ollie that I have now given away a sketch.
It's a little advanced teaser, a little trailer for it.
Yeah, that's what I've done. I've not spoiled anything.
Okay, would you like me to play the barber or the customer?
Can you play barber, please?
I can. Any preference for type of voice or?
Whatever you see as fit for a barber who's just now realised their potential of surgery.
I might attempt Northern based on your tips, but it's not going to go very well.
It's not going to go very well because I can't do a Northern accent.
I'll give it a shot. Feel free to... I say feel free, it's your sketch. You do what you like with it.
Yeah.
Ready to go when you are?
Yep.
Good morning. Come in.
Hello, Alwood. Bit of a mess at the moment. Gonna be needing a bit of trim, I'm afraid.
Well, that's something I can help you with. Just sit yourself down, and I'll be with you in a moment.
You know, it's been a while since I've seen you. How you been, mate?
Oh, you know, ups and downs. Me getting into a new side business, actually.
Really? That sounds interesting. What does it involve?
Not like what I do now. Bit more grisly than I'm used to, but I think I'm getting the hang of it.
Oh, that's good to hear.
How about you, mate? Last I saw you, you had that awful splinter in your foot.
Oh, that old thing. Still no better, I'm afraid. I was thinking about going to the doctors about it to get it removed, but I don't want to bother them with something as small as this. Still smarts quite a bit when I walk, though.
You know what? Might have someone that could help with that. Stay there a minute.
What the bloody hell is that, Howard?
It's my side business.
What?
I said it's my side business.
Howard? Is that a
No, it's
bloody
my side
chainsaw?
business. Oh,
I can't hear you.
No,
Turn it off. I can't hear anything.
Turn the
Turn it
saw
off.
You know what? I'm just gonna do it. Can't add a word you're saying.
Why the hell do you have a chainsaw, Howard?
I told you. It's my new side business.
What? Being a lumberjack?
No, surgery.
Surgery?
Yeah. All the barbers are doing it.
Like Sweeney Todd?
Not too sure who that is, but no. Like actual surgery. You know, scalpels, amputations, pelvimetry.
I have many questions. A couple of them about pelvimetry, but firstly, you've never seen Sweeney Todd?
Yeah, never got round to it. Oh, pelvimetry is the process of measuring the dimensions of the pelvis.
Secondly, why are you doing surgery?
It's my side business. Barber surgery. Basically, I was digging in my garden, having a funeral for My Incredibles 1 DVD, when I found a piece of parchment from the Middle Ages. Turns out it was a medical certificate. I've veered very strongly into bad Welsh now.
Yes.
Signature later, and I'm now a qualified barber surgeon.
Surely that can't be legal.
On the contrary, this piece of paper means the government can't touch me, baby.
Oh, so you're actually a surgeon?
Yup. Now let's have a look at that foot.
Whoa, hold on a minute. I don't want you to cut my foot off. It's just a splinter.
Oh, come on. You'll hardly miss it.
You know what? My hair's great. I've been thinking about maybe curling it anyway, so we could just cancel this booking. No need for refunds. Let's just leave it there.
Oh, we could curl your hair instead.
No, thank you. I'll just I'm going to buy.
Well, that was weird. Anyway, where was I? Ah, yeah. One moment.
Brilliant. I really like that. That was very good.
Oh, thank you.
So has that one been put out yet?
Yeah, that's been put out, yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
So if you want to hear the fully edited version on Conversations from the Coffee Shop.
Yeah, you can listen to this little rough prototype and then go listen to the remaster on Coffee Shop.
Wonderfully voice acted by our guest on that week, Bertie, and Ollie. Head writer Oliver Buck.
Head writer Oliver Buck.
Head writer Oliver Buck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I very briefly got something that sounded Norman for about... Norman?
Norman.
Yeah. For about one sentence, and then, yeah.
You started off with a lot of hope.
I did.
And then it's sort of... You sort of took us on a tour of the country.
Exactly, it was an artistic choice.
You know, you didn't want to sort of place the barbershop anywhere.
No, exactly, it's very ambiguous.
You want to sort of make them a relatable character that the audience can see.
When I spent the previous week studying the character, that was exactly what I was going for.
When I was writing the character of the barber surgeon, like, they were sort of an ambiguous sort of figure. I think they were a metaphor for some sort of animalistic feat inside ourselves, you know, the sort of thing that was baying for blood.
Exactly, the dark urges.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Speaking of Coffee Shop and anything else, would you like to run some plugs by?
Yeah, I'd love to. Conversations from the Coffee Shop on Purple Radio Drama on Spotify every Sunday. Taking a break at the moment for holidays, obviously, but...
Lazy.
We're so tired, Patrick.
Yeah.
We're so tired.
Blatantly being facetious because I took about a year off with Never Is Funny, so... Very much in good company. Conversations from the Coffee Shop. We're on Instagram, where I make some reels for the Instagram. I've also seen Mark from Truth Be Told posting.
Yeah. I'm attempting to sort of start a beef or rivalry between Conversations and Truth Be Told. Attempting to, at least. But yeah, Conversations from the Coffee Shop, Spotify.
Yes.
On Instagram as well. You can also find a playlist. Ollie as well, doing Connection Terminated. Ollie, incredibly talented. Louis as well. Oh yeah, Emma Ralston is also in Connection Terminated. I play alongside Emma Ralston.
Oh, fantastic.
But Conversations from the Coffee Shop at Convos from the Coffee Shop, I believe.
Yes, it's like that.
If not, I'll probably sort of run over to Wales and I'll scream at you from the window saying, I got the candle wrong.
I'd appreciate that, honestly. It's very isolated out here, which is the company. But yes, and of course, I'll put it in the description of this episode as well. So
fresh meat, new listeners.
Absolutely. Or, I suppose, secondhand meat if they're from this one. You take what you can get, really.
Fair play.
Would you recommend people start from the beginning with it, or hop in?
You can hop in wherever, actually. If you're really interested in the storyline behind it and the recurring characters, you can start from Series 1, but you can also start from Series 2 as well.
Perfect.
You might hear a certain familiar voice guest star in a couple of episodes in Series 1.
Yes, that's true. I played Lou Bega, I think.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. I think I played a weird munchkin.
Yes, you did. I remember hearing your voice pop up. But yeah, with that, is that all you'd like to plug?
I'm very sorry you glitched out, but I can assume that you said that all you want to say. But I guess the last thing I want to say is drink water.
Little plug for Evian.
Hey, no, Yorkshire water, no. Not Evian.
Yorkshire water.
No.
Is that a brand, or do you just mean geographically?
No, go outside, drink out of a puddle.
Go outside. That's good advice for podcast listeners, I think.
Go outside, drink out of a puddle. Maybe take only half of that advice.
Yeah, hey, there might be a puddle indoors.
No, yeah. It's called a sink, Patrick.
Oh yeah, so it is. I do live in rural Wales. We haven't quite gotten around to those yet. With that, I've been Patrick, as always. My guest has been Lottie Goldthorpe. And, yeah, see you next week.
I won't. Bye.
That's true.
Yeah, baby. Thank you for making it all the way to the end of the show. Really appreciate it. So, you can find the show, if you want to find it, on Instagram, at NeverIsFunny, all one word, all lowercase. The music for the title is, as always, There It Is by Kevin MacLeod on Comtech.com, licensed under Creative Commons, Y-Attribution 4.0 license, blah blah, creativecommons.org/licenses/by/4.0. The music for the dramatic lyric reading was Teddy Bear, Waltz, also by Kevin MacLeod, also same licenses. See you next week.